What's up, everybody? Welcome to Habs Tonight. Another episode. It's been a while. Well, probably since the Mike Weaver show. We had a show together there, fellas, and that was a fun one too. If you haven't checked it out, check out the Mike Weaver interview. Fantastic stories from him. But we got a lot to go through, guys. The Canadiens just finished rookie camp. So rookie camp with the Habs is wrapped up, and main camp is going to start this week. The guys are going to start to report, I believe it's tomorrow, and then hit the ice on Thursday. So they report tomorrow, hit the ice Thursday, and we're going to talk about a lot of the Montreal prospects. We're going to talk about the guys that retired today. We're going to go a deep dive on there, and then pretty much finish off with all the rookies and what we expect from the Habs this year. So thanks for jumping on, boys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Feels nice. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. It has been a while. I think I hijacked the intro because we said Damon was going to do it, and then I went into my natural. I was just like subconscious mind took over.
That's good. It's a good instinct, though.
It's good. It's good. It's all good.
Sorry, Damon.
Not a problem.
But, okay, guys, I want to start with this today because I just feel like this was a big story. A lot of us were wondering what was going to happen with a certain player, but we'll talk about these first two guys just for a second or two, and then we'll talk about PK Subban. So Keith Yandle announcing his retirement, the Iron Man himself on the back end, and then somebody who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, someone that we loved and mostly hated when we played him, Zdeno Chara of the Boston Bruins, but somebody that has a very strong connection to our first overall pick, Juraj Slafkovsky, as we know. And we heard Slafkovsky talk today about what Chara has meant to a player like Juraj and guys like Nemec, and how he paved the way for Slovakia to really break through in the NHL today, guys.
Yeah, this is going to be a big loss for the NHL. As much as I hated this guy, I'm going to miss Chara. Seeing him on the blue line for either New York Islanders, Boston Bruins, Washington Capitals, Ottawa Senators, it's still going to be a big loss. And the one thing I will say he will pay for, though, for Slafkovsky is a Slovakian Player of the Year award called the Golden Puck. He's a 6-time recipient of it. And I can tell you this: We're going to start seeing Slafkovsky rock those Golden Pucks up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like Damon said, it's definitely a big loss for the NHL. Personally, I kind of saw it coming for Chara. His career was kind of winding down. Guy, again, hated playing against him. As a Habs fan, we had to hate Chara. It's kind of our, it's in our blood, I guess. But yeah. Again, and also Deeks, like you said, too, first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. So definitely got to throw some respect on his name, and he had a pretty outstanding career. And dude was tough as nails. So I gotta tip your hat to him, as much as he was a rival and all, but definitely gotta tip your hat to Big Z.
Big Z for sure. Yeah, I even did a tribute to him on my channel last year when he was traded out of Boston, and mixed feelings. We all know the most famous thing is what happened with Pacioretty and how that incident all went down and everything, but there was a very emotional conversation that happened on the phone between those two guys after that incident, and just if he was on your team, you would have absolutely loved the crap out of the guy, but you know what, let's talk about a guy who was on our team for a very, very long time, and that's this fella right here, guys, PK Subban. We got a lot to say about him, so we're going to start with this, and we want to show you guys some pretty cool shots of our founder, Dale Weiss, and his good buddy PK Subban, who, of course, also along with the others, announced his retirement today after, was it 13 seasons in the NHL, guys? I want to say 13. Yeah. So some really cool shots here. And you know what? Before this Habs Tonight show started, PK Subban came on and endorsed our show. He came on and endorsed Habs Tonight with Dale Weiss. Dale, of course, saying here in one of our episodes that PK was an unreal first teammate and his first impressions of PK. All these clips are available on our channel. And guys, I just want to give you an opportunity again just to share your thoughts on this announcement today.
That came as a big shock to me. Now, I thought Subban would definitely have it in him to play a few more seasons in the NHL. And I understood maybe that he cared more about the fit this year than what his situation would have been, because Subban's getting towards the twilight of his career at this point. When I was thinking back in August, and I thought he might want to just take on a lower salary just to play for a cup contending team. And
me too.
I even thought about this, and even SDPN spoke about this, and I honestly agreed with this, because I think it was Jesse Blake who brought up the point that Subban could work for ESPN and be a broadcaster, and take a year off, heal up injuries that he had, and then eventually return to the NHL when he was ready. But it's a sad thing to see. But in the end, I want PK Subban to have the best future possible. Now we've noticed him when Spike Lee going to games together. I don't know if that's going to mean a Hollywood acting gig, and also Dwayne the Rock Johnson. They've been training our Fast and Furious 10 cameo. Please make it happen.
Right.
Yeah, but Subban, I'm gonna miss his time. We miss his time here. The day he got traded, I was crying so much. You guys,
Oh,
you guys
Damon.
can't even. You guys didn't even want to be near me that day. I was crying and bawling out constantly. I can tell you this: I cried a river.
Yeah,
He pulled a Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, man. I was telling you guys earlier, Damon. I was telling you earlier, but PK Subban was a big role model for me growing up as a teenager. You know, he really taught me like a lot of things. You know, his influence went a long way. Was, you know, to not care what people think and just be yourself. You know, and just be happy. And that's kind of the influence I got from him over the years. Definitely developed a thick skin with him teaching me that, like the way he was on the ice and, you know, the way his personality was. Um, I'm just really shocked that he retired. I mean, I'm shocked, but I'm also like understanding of it. You know, he looked like he wanted to, you know, look at the next step, maybe post hockey. You know, he's obviously has a very like flamboyant personality. You know, he's all about the brand, and you know that's just how PK's always been. So I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. He's a natural entertainer. He's a natural showman, so he'll definitely have a lot of great opportunities coming his way, whether it be like an analyst or with again like ESPN or maybe NHL on TNT. I'd love to see him and Paul Bissonnette on the halftime show with Gretzky and them all chirping each other. That'd be pretty funny. Kind of like how Shaq and Sir Charles are on the NBA on TNT halftime show. They always go at it. I'd love to see the exact same thing. It'd be pretty cool. So, yeah, again, PK, thanks for everything you did for Montreal, and just a lot of a lot of great things you did for Montreal as a city, and your legacy will never be forgotten. That's for sure.
Well said.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very nice, man. Very nice tribute there. Yeah, you know, like for me, I've kind of bit my tongue on PK because I loved him when he was in Montreal, and I thought about it today, and I was like, oh man, I saw him play a lot. You know, like I saw him play in person a lot. Him and Markov on the back end. Markov's my favorite Montreal Canadian of all time, still to this day. And those two, like PK, learned a ton from Markov. You know, but when it comes to his career, so many memories flooded back to me. And I remember his first career goal was in the playoffs against Pittsburgh in that crazy 2010 playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
He came in and played some games there. But later that year, when the Habs decided to keep Carey Price over Yaroslav Halak, my wife and I went to Montreal and we met PK and Carey and a bunch of the Habs there. And I still tell the story. Me and Dale were going to talk about it. That PK kind of like checked out my wife, you know, at the time, because I should show you guys the picture. Like, my wife asked PK for a picture, and he was like, "Of course." I'm like, "Yeah." He took one look at her and like, "Yeah, that's right, buddy. That's right."
Oh my goodness.
So for me, I was like, "Okay, I got the PK Subban seal of approval on my future wife," and that, as you can see, it worked out. I got the ring on here, but
Nice.
just a funny story there. But you know, when it came to PK as a player, absolutely loved him in Montreal. When he got traded to Nashville, I was sad for a moment, but then I was really happy we were getting Shea Weber. I'm kind of old school in the way of just guys that carry themselves a little quieter and let their actions speak louder than words. But PK really did both. Like, you know, he talked the talk, but he also walked the walk. You know, we'll never forget what he did. And we all saw the highlight on Twitter today, that breakaway goal against the Boston Bruins. That's probably the highlight. I guarantee you, the highlight of his career was that very goal. And the first one to celebrate with PK Subban after that goal, and here it is again. This picture was Dale Weiss, our founder. This is a picture of exactly that moment when PK got the breakaway coming out of the penalty box. Lard Zeller feeds in that pass. The Bell Center rises to its feet. They know it's coming, and he scores that goal. And just though that was right after the racist tweet from some idiot Bruins fan that we all know, and he just came out and did that and just stomped on that with his whole heart and just, you know, demolished that whole stupid incident. And there's a lot more positive than negative memories of PK. The only thing with me was, when he went to Nashville and he got to the Stanley Cup, and he's going at it with Sidney Crosby, and he poked the wrong bear with the whole Listerine incident where he said like, oh, like when they were chirping each other, and someone said, well, what were you guys saying to each other? And he's like, oh, I was just telling him he had bad breath, and this stuff.
He definitely did not say that.
Yeah, we heard the sound.
I found the clip. Yeah, he did not say that.
So, but then PK then continues with that and brings Listerine in his bag and shows it on social media and makes it a thing. I'm like, you're in the Stanley Cup final, dude. Like, focus on the one thing, Yeah. So, I mean, as a player, I think it was probably pretty difficult to be his teammate at times. Dale has a personality that blended very well with him, so I completely understand that. But there were guys in that locker room, as we know, Max Pacioretty being one of them. There were others, Brendan Gallagher, that had a different opinion about how PK carried himself. But you know what? There's two ways to think about it. You can think about what PK accomplished as a teammate and what he accomplished as an individual. And I think that if he looks back on his career, he's not going to have any regrets because he was PK. He was PK the whole time. He didn't try to be somebody for other people. He didn't try to put on. He was exactly who he was the whole time. So for that, I give him full credit. And obviously, he would have liked to add a Stanley Cup to his resume. He got the Norris Trophy in the shortened season in 2013. He was outstanding. And it was sad for a lot of people when he left. But then you look at what he did with the hospital and donating $10 million to the children. Like that's something that, to me, PK Subban, the person, is bigger than PK Subban, the player. And we're going to continue to see that grow and flourish in retirement. I wouldn't be surprised if he does a Michael Jordan and comes back. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls that off, and it'd be pretty cool to see him come to the Habs, whatever. I don't know. But I think that PK's legacy comes down to him being this kind of person here, with Madame Bellevaux and, them blowing each other kisses. And then the emotional moment when PK came back right here with Nashville and just the memories that flooded back to him, because he knows forever that the best time in his career was with the Montreal Canadiens. And one of the best highlights of his career, again, the hardest hit Brad Marchand has ever received. This isn't even it. This isn't even the hit. So I was talking about the one where he hit him with his butt and knocked the wind out of Marchand. PK Subban will forever be remembered for a lot of things. That's one of them. And I know I just kind of spitballed a lot of thoughts there, you guys, but at the end of the day, I think PK Subban will be remembered more for the good than the bad, and who he is as a person and what he's tried to contribute, especially to the Black community and to his people that have suffered for way too long. And he still speaks out. And I just, like I mentioned a minute ago, PK Subban, the person, is going to shine so much brighter than PK, the player. And that's more important. I think we're all learning that in post-retirement, that who you are as a person outside the rink is so much bigger and important to have an impact on the world. And PK's maybe still just beginning in that regard.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to add one more story about PK that I heard from somebody I knew. Actually, it was an old high school teacher of mine. I think you'll find this funny, I guess. But again, because I'm in the Toronto area, right? One of my teachers in school. Again, this is probably maybe late 2000s, Subban's maybe in 18, 19 years old. They saw him at a club, and a bunch of the guys went up to him and started heckling him because they're all Leaf fans. And yeah, and apparently they almost got into a bit of a rumble with him. Although like my teacher was like, didn't want none of it. He was not very like confrontational in that way. And then he went up to him, he's like, PK, I'm sorry, man. Like, they're just my friends. Like, don't worry about them. And then everything was fine after. And that was, I think that was a pretty funny story. He told me that years ago. So, yeah.
So many stories.
I have something else to add about PK as a person. So I'm part of an organization called the HEPA, which is about Greeks getting involved in the community and doing good, raising money for charity. And PK Subban is actually involved with us. And I unfortunately haven't met him yet, but I do know people in our organization that have. And every year in Montreal around Valentine's Day, he does a Valentine's Day ball, or a gala room ball hall, I'm pretty sure it's called. And he shows up in person, helps raise thousands of dollars, and he's always makes an appearance and always gives us time to take photos with fans. And he's just such a good person. And again, another thank you to PK.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's why, I think we can separate the player and the person. And like I said, when he was on our team, I absolutely loved him. I got to watch his entire career. I started following the Montreal Canadiens closely, really a couple of years, 2 or 3 years before PK arrived. And then when he did, it was full on PK. We were all behind him. And so many great memories. I got to see him score goals right in front of the glass, like right in front of me. So I mean, I'm forever going to remember just screaming my head off when he scored, and just meeting him and just, encouraging him even too. I remember just telling him, man, like, hey, like, just go do your thing. Like we got your back. And he was just like, okay, like he was just really humble and nice. He was a kid, right? Like this is like 12 years ago I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So a lot of great memories, and we thank you, PK, once again. I don't have a picture of him in New Jersey. New Jersey, but this is his screenshot from Instagram today, so let's pull this up. And certainly he had a lot of great things to say about the fans, his family, some beautiful words about his parents and his family, and the fans, and just everybody who has and continues to support him. So PK, we do say thank you, brother. Also want to say a quick thank you. This we didn't have a chance to say. We want to wish the best to a friend of Habs tonight who was on the show just months ago, Dan Robertson, voice of the Montreal Canadiens, who's now going to be the voice of another NHL team, which I haven't heard the announcement yet personally, so I hope it's not the Leafs. But but you know what? All the best to Dan Robertson. It was a great interview. Brandon Legacy, huge fan of Dan. All of us have been. I've been listening to Dan for years on the radio on the way home from work, after working the Ice Dogs game. I always throw on the third period to listen to Dan Robertson and the Habs and Sergio Momesso, and just really going to miss Dan being on the radio. So, all right, guys, This is we got a lot to talk about still. We have the rookie showcase that just happened, like we mentioned, and a lot of players to talk about. So we're going to talk about players that stood at a rookie camp, and I'm going to let you guys jump into this. I've talked about this on my channel already, but let's start with somebody that really impressed Damon, and that's Owen Beck. And I think he really impressed a lot of us. So why don't we start with him?
Owen Beck is another version of Phil Deneau. I'm going to call him the mini little Phil Deneau for this little case here. He played so well. He had a 2-goal game. I don't remember which team it was against, because we know we played against New Jersey, Buffalo, and we played against the Sens. And by the way, I'm going to pull up the score of the Sens game, if that's okay. I'm just going to pull it up right here. Yeah, this was the score of the game against the Sens.
I thought it was 7-2.
I know it's 7-2, but just for context, we'll say it's 8-2.
Oh, I see.
By the way, if you're wondering who Phil Coutinho is, he's Xavier Simoneau in this case.
I didn't get that. I'm sorry. I'm not a soccer fan. You have to explain that to those of us that don't know.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun tournament to watch, and he scored so many nice silky goals. He toe drag. He had a lot of nice skill, and also he wasn't one of those forwards who played like he was just there just because he knew he would be a part of the Habs in the future. He played like he had something to prove, and he proved that that he could be a good number 2 or 3 or even 1. See if Nick Suzuki gets injured in the future and step up whenever needed. And I can't wait to watch the Mississauga Steelheads this year. Hopefully, when I work broadcast this year with Rogers, I'll make sure I can work some games that involve Mississauga so I can see him play and get some alternative angles of his highlights.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was expecting to. So today, a week in, so basically 9 days from now, the Mississauga Steelheads are coming to Niagara for the home opener, which I have tickets for. I have tickets for the game, and I was talking on my channel like, I can't wait to go and possibly interview Owen before the game, and then watch him play, and then just enjoy the night. But he's going to be at training camp, so I'm like, you might not even freaking be there. He might still be at the training camp with the Habs. So if he doesn't get cut by the Habs, he'll still be there. And he just said it in the interview today in Montreal that he only has a one-way ticket right now, so he doesn't have a flight home. So that means if he does well, he's sticking around for a little bit longer with the Habs. But I do expect he'll go back to Mississauga, and I'll get a chance to see him later on in the season. But any thoughts on Owen Beck there, Adrian?
Yeah, I saw some clips of him. I think I was telling you guys I watched the game against Buffalo, and I think he was on he was playing that game, and he looked pretty good. I saw some of the highlights. I was working this weekend, so I couldn't see some of this past weekend. Sorry, I couldn't see some of the games, but I saw some of the clips on Instagram. I was keeping track of it, and he looks good. I see a lot of upside of him, and I see again some. He's got a great shot, and he's gonna be a stud. That's for sure.
He looks good, man. He looks good.
He does.
Well, Damon, we got a lot of players to talk about, so why don't I just let you click through these guys and talk about the next guy in line, who was Emil Heineman, who I thought made a really good impression. He was playing in Sweden, actually. He played 8 games in Sweden before rookie camp, so he scored the first goal of the tournament pretty early on in that game, in the first game of the 3 games that they played, and And I thought Emil Heineman looked pretty comfortable out there.
He looked right in place the way I saw it. And he reminds me a lot of Arturi Lehkonen, and hopefully that brings us good vibes because Lehkonen was a fan favorite while he was here, and he's similar to Beck. Emil Heineman is pretty much a winger, but plays the same game as Beck, just on the wing. And man, that shot is so lethal. I don't think enough people realize how lethal that shot is of Emil Heineman's.
We saw it pretty quickly, so that's
Yeah.
That's why it's
darn
lethal.
sure.
Quick in the back of the net.
Okay, so you had a comparison for this next player. I want to bring this up because 26th overall pick, fellow countryman of Juraj Slafkovsky, Philippe Machar, really impressed a lot of folks. And of course, Damon, he impressed you. We got to talk about Philippe Machar. I was certainly impressed too.
Oh boy, I have to ask where do I start with Philippe Machar? That's the first thing I need to know.
Anywhere you want, man.
First thing, I'm just gonna get off my head, out the top of my mouth or the top of my head, whatever. Yeah, he reminded me of this. He plays a similar game to Mitch Marner and Thomas Plekanec in a bit of a hybrid. I've noticed his finishing reminds me of Plekanec, but his playmaking is similar to Mitch Marner in that sense. I don't think he'll have the same impact at the NHL level of Mitch Marner. I could see him more as a very good second line playmaker and finisher as well, but he was really impressive. And yeah, he and Slafkovsky could be future line mates in the future, and that's still something that's pretty cool to think about. If we get a Slovakian center in the future, we're gonna have the all Slovak line.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
That'd be pretty neat to see.
Yeah.
Did you have a chance? I didn't want to put Adrian too much on the spot because Adrian's a hardworking gentleman over there. Did you get a chance to see Heineman, Machar as well, or what were your thoughts there?
I did see Heineman. I think I did see the goal he scored. It was he has a great shot from what I remember seeing. So Machar, I think he scored in the Buffalo game, if I'm correct.
Yeah, from Slafkovsky.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I was kind of watching certain players because some of the guys like Slafkovsky, Machar has been in the system for a bit. Again, just they're going to be good players. They work hard, and I'm pretty stoked for the future. I always like watching, preseason, or even I'm starting to get more into watching these rookie camp games too, because it just kind of gives you a glimpse of what your future can be. So it's definitely exciting. It's exciting,
Yeah, I had like Philippe Machar. They were saying he has great edge work, and that's something really to pay attention to because he can really turn on a dime and create offense quickly. So there was a tic-tac-toe goal scored, and I believe it was the New Jersey game, and the play was all started by Philippe Machar, just like circling around the neutral zone, coming through center ice, entering the offensive zone, and the puck just found its way tic-tac-toe. All started from Philippe Machar. So wow. He maybe didn't get an assist, but he probably should have. So all right, so the big fella here, boys, Juraj Slafkovsky. I guess I'll just jump in on him really quick here. Really made a quick impact in the first game, as we know, getting that shorthanded chance. I think it was a bit of a size mismatch with the Buffalo defender there, but he just grinded his way in there. Found an open Philippe Machar for the second Montreal Canadiens goal of that tournament. It was a thing of beauty, of course. And you know what? He didn't score, but he made an impact and played a good 200-foot game, I thought, and really used his reach. His reach is going to be a thing to behold in the NHL for years to come, because he's gonna knock a lot of pucks loose with that reach, and he's gonna make a lot of little plays happen that you don't see coming. But also he's got slick mitts. I've said this a couple times. He's got good hands. He's a playmaker. He was more of a puck distributor than a shooter, I noticed, over those 2 games that he played. He only played 2 of the 3, but man, was he fun to watch. And it was just a tiny, tiny glimpse of what he's going to be in Montreal. I can't wait to see him at training camp. I can't wait to see him in a preseason game, and then eventually an NHL game, guys. I'm really excited for him.
Slafkovsky, he was something else. I expected a lot of goals and assists from him, but the 200-foot game just absolutely stood out, like you said. And Slafkovsky, the one thing I really can't wait to see is more defensemen try to run into him and then end up falling down and falling back like defenseman.
Oh god,
that gave me a good chuckle when I saw that. I thought, okay, Slafkovsky gonna get his head a bit down, and then As soon as he skates right into him, boom, falls back and then drops the gloves. I don't remember who it was, which player it was on the Habs, the Buffalo defenseman dropped the gloves with, but that was still really funny just to see someone take a run at Slafkovsky and then fall down. So hopefully he's a threat when he comes to the NHL, and defensemen think twice about hitting him. They're like, okay, we can hit him, but we know we'll fall back down and we'll create an odd man rush, and then that'll be our secret weapon. Similar to Mighty Ducks, everyone has their secret weapon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. I saw the report before the rookie camp. I think he was weighed at like 238 pounds. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, the kid's a unit. I'm telling you, I'm so stoked to see him play. Again, I watched the game on Thursday against Buffalo, and again, I noticed that 200-foot game. Kid's got, for a big dude, he moves really well. That's the one thing I really noticed. Man, oh man, that's you love to see it too, right? Like a lot of those bigger players, they don't really, their foot speed's good, but not, as good as some other guys, right? But man, oh man, he was moving well, and again, like the defenseman tried to make a run at him, and like God, he instantly regretted that, and I think he hurt himself too. The kid's gonna be unreal. As some of you may know, I was not very fond of the pick at first because I didn't know much about Slav, to be honest. Like I saw like little clips of him here and there and playing in Europe, and then I heard about, I think it was the Olympics, kind of his stock rose after that.
Yeah.
But like again, and then I'm seeing him like the video of him on the bike and just other things too, like him in like rookie camp, and just man, he's gonna be a stud, and I'm pretty stoked. And I definitely have a way different opinion on the pick than I did 2 months ago. So there you go.
You and me both. Let me tell you,
all three of us, it's unanimous.
Yeah, especially Damon. Damon, I think, like broke a vocal cord screaming Shane Wright whenever
I murdered my mic. First degree murder on the mic, I guess.
First degree murder on the mic. Oh my gosh,
unreal.
That's we got to quote that somewhere.
That's unreal.
Okay, so there are other players that stick out that we didn't write down, but Caden Gooley, Francis Bouillon really spoke highly of him today in the interviews at the end of rookie camp. Really spoke highly and says that Caden Gooley's got a great future. I have to agree with him. I think he's going to be a combination of like a Jeff Petrie, Shea Weber, just in all the aspects of the game. But we got to talk about Arber Xhekaj. So we saw the knockout punch. I don't know how I feel about the future of fighting. I'm still kind of on the fence, but I mean, apparently the story that I heard that I didn't know about, you guys, is that every rookie camp, there was an Ottawa player apparently trying to injure a Montreal Canadien at these rookie camps the last few years. So this was, some people would call it karma for what happened to, what's the player's name he fought? Starts with an M. I can't remember his last name.
Victor Loden, or
no, it was another kid.
Remember, I think he murdered Victor Loden earlier in the game, because when I was
hit a few guys first, and then
Victor Loden was the first guy hit and sent straight to the medical tunnel, I guess.
Oh, it was Zachary Massicott. Zachary Massicott. Yeah. Okay, so it was Massicott that Xhekaj knocked out. But I just, regardless, I mean, this kid seems like fear is not even a thing that exists in his life. Like, just Arber Xhekaj seems like he's really starting to catch people's attention now, guys.
Oh my goodness, I just want to touch on that Ottawa thing there. Jake Evans got murdered by Jonathan Aspercott back in that back in 2018 it was, and then Sergachev nearly got murdered back in 2016 it was.
Yes, so
that's good backtracking. But Arber Xhekaj is like, okay, you took three of us, I take out three of you in one game. Hold my beer. He's pretty much the Terminator out there. If Arnold Schwarzenegger's getting too old for the role, and Arber Xhekaj is getting to the twilight of his career, simple recast.
Nuts,
yeah,
man.
I got to give a shout out to Hockey Junkie, who Damon and I both watch. He's got a shirt that's that says "Black Guy from Jack Guy."
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He's a really good YouTuber.
That's awesome.
I'm like, whoa! So shout out to Hockey Junkie. He's a supporter of ours and mine as well. But this guy's a mutant, man. He's going to be a better. I'm like, the Milan Lucic actually comes to mind, even though he's a defenseman and Lucic is a forward.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just hope he becomes a disciplined, tough guy and can, because look at the career Lucic is still having. He's still playing, right? He's still having an impact, and now potentially going to be on a contending Calgary Flames team. But yeah, Xhekaj stood out, of course, and I just hope that he becomes the player that And he's not just a goon. Like, he can actually play. That's the other thing, guys. So I think that's important to mention as well.
Yeah, I heard about Xhekaj. I think it was something like last year. I just loved his story. How I heard he was like working at like Costco or something. I think that was him during the COVID, because I don't think they played much in the OHL and the CHL.
It was the only league that didn't play at all.
Yeah. So he was he was working at Costco just to kind of get by. And then he signed his entry level deal with the Habs like last November, and I thought that was like a really, a really cool story, and just I love hearing things like that too, right? So when I hear, things about him being a tough guy, he's a guy, he's definitely a fighter in all sense of the word, and I was even reading an article about him the other day, as apparently they quoted him as the scariest guy in the OHL, so. That was pretty cool. I even sent my dad the video of him knocking out Massacot in that fight. And my dad's like, "Holy smokes, that was a devastating blow." I was like, "This guy's gonna be a beast." And I'd love to. I think I even said it on Twitter the other day too. I would love to see him on a pairing, maybe in Laval, or maybe with the big club one day, with him and Caden Gooley on a pairing would be pretty nice. That'd be.
It wouldn't hurt. Actually, it would.
That'd be a real solid. Oh my goodness! Imagine other teams' top lines trying to match up against that. They're getting murdered out there. They're like, "Oh, how can we stand up against this?"
A lot of murder, Damien. You're scaring us. No,
I mean, I'm not being in a literal sense. I mean,
I know.
Figuratively,
figuratively speaking, everybody, settle down now. Okay, so that's pretty much all we got, everybody, for this one. We have lots to look forward to. We're going to be jumping back on for shows during training camp as the season really gets going, and we get a really good chance to see guys like Juraj Slafkovsky play with pros and against pros in the preseason, see what he's got, see if he's ready for the show. And also guys like Owen Beck, Emil Heineman, Philip Michar, Arber Xhekaj, Caden Gooley. There's so many players to talk about, think about. William Trudeau comes to mind as a player that stood out as well, which the French fans will, of course, appreciate. So that being said, guys, thanks for watching. If you want to check out our store, by the way, we have hats on the fellas tonight, habstonight.net. Yeah, that's
yes,
a great. Damon, just stay there for a second. I want to I got to look. It's just such a funny looking shot. I had to do it. I love it.
It's a nice
so habstonight.net. If you want to support and grab yourself some merch, you guys are a part of the show just as much. That's the most thing we've appreciated ever since we started the show with Dale Weiss was that it's an interactive show. We want you guys to be involved in the show, and we can't wait to hear comments down below. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. Hit the like button. We appreciate the support and spreading this to more Habs fans. We're almost at 15,000 subscribers, guys. So please help us get there. We really appreciate it. And boys, it was a lot of fun. This went by so fast. So thank you for jumping on with me today, fellas.
Thank you. Anytime.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Drew.
Well,
thanks,
we're all one team. I mean, we had each other.
That's true. That's true.
All right. So
it was awesome.
Thanks again, guys. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Go Habs, go. Talk soon, everybody.
That's right. Take it easy.